All right, so this is my module 5 rebuttal. I'm going to be covering the transferring of evidence in regards to the Bellabon case. So my rebuttal towards the Bellabon case revolves around the transferability of pollen and spore evidence found on the toddler's body within the baby doe case. So evidence found in the analysis was that pollen and spores found on the body was consistent with the location where the body was discarded. By analyzing the pollen and spores, they were able to determine that the toddler was from the local area since they did not know who she was at first. By determining this, the investigators were immediately able to narrow down the location of the crime as well as aid in determining who the baby doe was. However, I want to point out the possibility that the pollen and spores could have possibly been from other sources that were not from the area where the body was found. There's a possibility that these pollen and spores could have been transported to the scene via external factors such as water, wind, or animals. So pollen and spores are very prominent in the environment and can be found in various locations. These particles are small and lightweight, which could easily lead to them being carried by water, wind, or animals. To start off with wind. So pollen has been found to travel over extremely long distances and can also stay in the air for up to 11 hours. Another factor is that other particles can also be carried by wind, such as plant debris, soil, or dust, and it can become mixed with the pollen. For water, it has the ability to transport pollen and spores in the event that the victim was found near a body of water. The pollen and spores can become trapped in the water droplets and be carried downstream. Deposition of the pollen and spores can then occur on surfaces far from its original source. Bellabon's body was found on a shoreline, therefore this is a possibility. Finally, animals can transport pollen and spores when it gets on their body, like in their fur or feathers. This interaction is important given that this allows animals to carry pollen and spores over long distances. During the transportation, the pollen and spores may become dislodged, which allows them to end up in places and on surfaces that they did not originate from. So my concluding thoughts, with these possible transportation means in mind, it is highly possible that the pollen found on the body could have been transported there via one of these transportation methods. Again, these being water, wind, or animals. These pollen particles could be found in various different places, and they could have found their way to the scene. And these are my sources. Thank you for sharing your case study.